Welcome to Fusionverse, a show where we talk about anime, TV shows, movies, and games. My name is Elvis, and today we're going to be talking about Westworld versus Altered Carbon. Now, for those of you that don't know, Westworld recently just released the full season already. You can watch it already, 10 episodes. And, of course, Altered Carbon is on Netflix, fully available to watch at your leisure. Now something I will say is, fuck Westworld. The reason for that, honestly, is second season. It kind of let me down. There was a lot of jumping around within the story that it kind of just got me a little confused about certain aspects of it. There are times where I was like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. I know where this is taking place or where this is happening. Jumping in and out of it. However, there were just a lot of things that just kind of didn't add up, or the way the story was progressing, it kind of was like this kind of lackluster. It really didn't leave me to think, oh, okay, this is happening, or this is gonna happen. It kind of also ruined a lot of the deaths where they were just kind of instantaneous with some of the characters in the story, where it was like, oh, they're dead now. That was just really surprising to me and kind of disappointing. It was really entertaining at times. There was a lot of things that I was just like, oh, this is freaking awesome. But yeah, a lot of times it just felt, I don't know, it just didn't feel like it. We just felt that it could have been better. Maybe without all those, different like jumps and stuff like that. But what it seemed like is that you were kind of going through the mind of one of the characters, where his mind was kind of discombobulated. He was like hurt, and you were kind of going through his memories of how he remembered the events that were transpiring. But I also didn't feel, I didn't feel that connected to the story. I didn't there were times where I was like, okay, they want their freedom, but there was times where it's like, well, if they wanted their freedom, why didn't they do this? Or what the hell is going on? So if you're not aware and have not seen the show, then go ahead and watch it, because I'm going to be talking about like spoilers. Because there were things that I didn't really see happening. There were points where they basically, Dolores basically and her whole basic entourage of bots or since they basically take over the main place, like where they're all at, where everyone is just where they're made basically, and it just felt kind of lackluster. Where it's like, okay, they're badasses, they took it all out, they're trying to take it over, but then it's kind of leave. I felt like a lot of them did get killed, but it didn't feel like, okay, you have these people that can kind of control more of you, or can help you to take more control. And Dolores kind of showed that when she was communicating with the guy. However, it was really kind of weird, because they never really did anything to make it go like, oh, we're reviving all these other individuals, we're bringing them back, or we're doing this, or we're doing that. They only did that, I think, with like one of the characters or so, when they brought her back, or she was captured, and it was a whole mess. I feel like the one thing that I really enjoyed, well, actually two things. I really liked when they went to the Japanese Westworld, or Japanese world, and the samurai and everything that was happening, and the fact that they weren't really woken up. They were still kind of dealing with things as they were going. It was a little strange and kind of interesting to see that they basically used some of the similar stories in there as well. So there's just a lot that happened, and it was just kind of disappointing at times. I really thought that there was going to be more. Something else was going to happen. Something incredible was going to happen, that they were going to escape, and they were going to be like in the real world now. But that, like you saw, that didn't happen until the very end. That was at the very end, where you were just kind of like, oh, okay, well, this happened. However, Dolores is leaving, she did that whole thing, and she kind of took some spears with her, I guess some some of the members, and then like the security guy was actually one as well, so he let her go. But it was just really weird. It was just interesting but kind of weird situation. And yeah, so then you get this ending where you get to see kind of Dolores. It's like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna make more. We have the machine to make it. We're gonna make more of us to kind of take over. And I guess that was the whole aspect of it. And Bernard was there to kind of like help her along, but he said he was gonna stop her. It was kind of off. But then that wasn't the actual ending. It kind of goes back to William and the William's whole story arc where it's like he basically Westworld took over his life and just kind of like dominated it. And then it just kind of keeps going and going and transpiring. And then you kind of find out like, oh, he like, killed his daughter. He killed her because he thought that she was a robot, but it turns out she wasn't. And he killed a bunch of people too that were there to kind of like rescue him. So it was freaking madness. It was really crazy. And then you kind of find out that it's like he himself, is one of them as well. So he's like the machines. It was really odd because it's like, oh, so it's not really him. But then they said like, oh yeah, like we've done this multiple times already. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so is this just like a cop out? Did the whole thing with Dolores and everything that was going on the park didn't actually happen? Or did it, like, how were they just redoing everything over and over? It just felt, like I said, very discombobulated, especially like with Bernard's mind. I got that they were trying to do something like that, but at the end of the day, it just didn't work out for me. I've heard, some things from people, like stuff was like, oh, they weren't that into it, they didn't really like it that much in comparison to the first season. And yeah, for me, it just wasn't there. For me, I just didn't feel that connected with a lot of the characters. I could see like the anger and the emotions. Oh, and the other part was the Native American part. That was probably the one where else like it hit me the most. Where it's like, he realizes, oh crap, like we're synthetic. We're not actually here. We're like part of this game. We're part of this whole thing. And we gotta escape, and they're replacing us because things are happening. And there's really he has really no power in what he is able to do or what any of them are able to do to get their loved ones back. There's this whole thing where he talks, to the main guy, played by Anthony Hopkins, and he's like, hey, this is like, he's like, well, you're gonna know something's gonna happen, and then that's gonna be your cue to kind of leave, so you can go somewhere. And they basically created this, this not dimension, but this other world for them, for the AI to go, for them to live happily kind of ever after, so they won't be bothered by anyone. However, it's not the real world, it's just a virtual world. And a lot of them kind of, like, they're trying to go, and then the other people are trying to destroy them. And a lot of them, some of them do make it. There's others that are just kind of standing there as there's this chaos happening. And I don't understand why no one's running towards the game. It felt very strange, that something like that was going on. And yeah, it was very disheartening. It's just something that just kind of just happened. And then when the portal closes, you can kind of see that it's like they were going through it. The AI, their minds were being transferred to that virtual world, but their actual bodies were just falling down like a cliff. So they were living, because there's a shot where the guy gets shot in Native American. As he's going, he gets shot. He's like, oh my god, he's gonna die. And then he goes through. So his mind is there, and he's like, wait, it's not hurting anymore. That's weird, right? And then you kind of see the shot of like all the bodies that are down there off the cliff. Nevertheless, it had some strong points and had a lot of weak points in my opinion. But Altered Carbon was something incredible, something that I didn't expect, something that I at first was a little confusing because they kind of have to explain a lot to you within like just this little time frame for the first episode, where basically everyone has these like chips in their necks, which contains like all their memories, all this information from their lives, and when they get killed, they're able to be resurrected in a different body or a cloned body. Someone's choosing depending on the money or certain things of that aspect, and they're basically just skins. It's like, oh, you can purchase like a better one, or you can purchase this, or you can get replacements. It's a whole freaking mess of things, right? So, so the whole thing, right, that was going on, is just showing you just the outcome of this. It's kind of similar to in a way of what Westworld was doing, where it's like they want to prolong life, they want to make sure they can live a long time, and it's mainly like rich people who can afford it, which is exactly what Altered Carbon is, where it shows like, yeah, like some other people can't afford it, but not to that extent of the wealthy people. The wealthy people basically control everything. You know, they can live forever. However, living forever also corrupts them. It makes them just kind of immune to certain things. You get to see that a lot through the series, how they treat people like trash, just filth. It's really disgusting, and they play a lot of that throughout the show. It's a few episodes long. It's not like 24 episodes or anything like that. It's a Netflix show, really well done. It reminds me also of like this kind of dystopia, this whole Blade Runner aspect of it, except a lot less dirtier to a certain extent. And yeah, you get to see these people get brought back. The main character, where he's lived in like different bodies, and it shows a list of the different bodies he's been in, things of that nature. And yeah, so it kind of throws you in there, telling you all this information. But at the same time, if your disc is shot, if they destroy your disc, you're gone forever. There's no way to bring you back. There's, nothing like that. Unless you basically backed up your system or something like that. If it does get destroyed, so you have a backup destroyed. If you gotta have a backup if your original gets destroyed. And it costs a lot of money. That's why a lot of people cannot afford that. And sometimes some people's minds are just like trashed completely. And there's a character as well in the story that you get to find out a lot more about, where it's like kind of revolves around her and things that are happening. But yeah, the whole thing is like, it's really incredible just to see this interaction between people, because you also get to see the religious side of things, because you have this mother-daughter relationship where she's kind of telling her like, no, in her family as well. It's like no, you only have one life. There's God, blah blah blah. You shouldn't resurrect anybody. However, there's a funny part where they have like the whole. If you haven't seen it, go watch it right now, because I'm probably gonna get to a little bit of spoilers. There's a part where they resurrect, or they bring back the grandmother. The grandmother comes back, and they put her in this body. It's like a white guy with like tattoos, and it's just, they call them sleeves. That's what they call them, sleeves. And they put him in a sleeve. It's just another person, a male, and he's like, but it's her. It's weird. It's like a weird situation where it's her. It's like these different people, like elderly woman in this, white guy's body, and then she's talking in Spanish. It's really incredible. This actor did a phenomenal job portraying all these different characters, because there's more. But yeah, this interaction with her, it's really crazy, because they talk about it. It's like, hey, talking to her kids, her daughter, who's a mother as well, and to her granddaughter, and to all these little grandkids and stuff like that, where it's like, hey, I wish your father was very religious. I wish he could have been here, and it was just really incredible to see this dynamic. But at the end of it, she said, you know what, after this, don't ever bring me back. I'm kind of like just done. I just want to kind of like be at peace. It's very interesting to see kind of like this whole afterlife or life thing that's going on, because her grandfather, this detective's grandfather, whose grandmother she brings back, he didn't want that. He wanted to just go. He didn't want to be brought back. He just wanted to be gone. And she was kind of like, you know what? I think it's just time for me to just stop. No more. But you see this interaction between all of them. It gets really emotional, because each character does bring something to the table. There's more story among these, especially when there's AI involved. There's an individual known as Edgar Allan Poe, for his hotel, and it's really incredible to see this emotional aspects of it, because it's like an AI, but it doesn't really have a physical body. It's just really interesting, really, to see this dynamic between all these different characters, and it really impacts you in a way. Like I was just like emotionally impacted at the end of the show. Like once it finished, I was just like, wow, it was really good. I do hope there's more. I hope there's a new season, and just a lot of things happen. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. Hopefully they just spoil a lot of information for you. But yeah, watch it, Altered Carbon. I highly recommend it. Westworld, if you haven't seen it and you've watched this, there's really no reason to watch it. I'm not really that huge of a fan anymore. It's kind of just died out for me. Maybe the next season I may take a glance at it, but I'm just waiting for more Altered Carbon. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys on another exciting episode of Fusionverse. For more videos, click there, or yeah, down there. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Visit my Patreon, because why not? And yeah, I will catch you guys again. Take care. Bye.
Okay, lady, I love you. Bye-bye.